So you didn't pause the system because there was a potential suicide associated with it. But surely when you found this out, you must have thought to yourself, the questions of accuracy and the reversal of onus are matters of real significance to the people who are affected by this scheme.
I thought to myself that to do welfare compliance, it has to be done sensitively and well, and there has to be absolute reasonable opportunities for everybody.
Before we get to reasonable opportunities, there has to be a reasonable basis to raise a debt.
And for any, I know from experience of even people close to me who have committed suicide that you can't always know what causes somebody to do that. And I was concerned about this, and hence I asked for a review to understand what responsibility there was on behalf of the department and their interaction with him that may have exacerbated any situation.
Can I add another angle to the one that Mr. Gregory's raised? He's raised accuracy and the reversal of onus. There's also the going back years. This man in May 2016 is told he has debts from the 2010-11 year, 2011-12 year and 2013-14 year, and he's supposed to contend with that, a vulnerable man who's known to be anxious and depressed. To add to that, he then, after having to deal with all of that, in August is told that there's another debt from the 2012-13 year. So he's being asked to contend with debts dating back years, and you're doing this to a large population of people, many of whom, whether they've got vulnerability indicators or not, will be vulnerable. Is that not a concern?
It was a concern. It was certainly a concern to me, and going back to the broader point, Commissioner, my concern particularly within my authority as Human Services Minister was to ensure that the system could be as easily understood, as reasonable as possible, where a person could easily find the information through, for example, bank statements, where people were, if they had any vulnerability indicator at all or any sense, were excluded, where people could speak to a customer service officer immediately, within seconds, where that was understood. That was my authority to fix and address the problems which I saw to make it fair and reasonable from that implementation perspective.
You didn't think it necessary to raise any question of whether, for the reasons Mr. Gregory's identified, the accuracy issue, the putting the onus on people who may not be well equipped to deal with the system, and the going back years, it might be better to reconsider whether this program should continue?
And at the time, Commissioner, operating within my authority to implement the Cabinet decision. So the Cabinet decision, which I didn't have the authority to overturn, had made those decisions to review certain years, to place greater burden on the recipients to find the data, and also that income averaging would be used as a last resort when people did not respond. They were the Cabinet decisions, which I didn't have the authority to overturn. My authority was to fix the implementation and the operations of the system which was my very sharp focus. And I believe, Commissioner, that the things which I did put in place, including effectively pausing things until they were better in place, having that customer service officer there, having the 1-800 number available within seconds, being able to use bank statements as evidence, which are more readily available, were effectively more reasonable and for individuals to be able to engage with.